everyone, my name is Dawn, and today I am going to break down some of the most commonly used phrasal verbs in English. Before we get started, if you are learning English right now, or if you know somebody who is learning English, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel and click the little notifications bell because that's going to notify you the next time I have a video. All right, so let's first understand what is a phrasal verb. So phrasal verbs are basically short-formed expressions that can be used in a sentence. It can be used in various different ways, and they are so commonly used. In fact, they are so commonly used that when I moved to Lima, I did not realize how often I said phrasal verbs, because oftentimes I would have friends in Peru who would say, "What are you talking about? Like, what is come out? What is cross out? What is all of these things?" And so they had no idea what I was talking about. So for a good first year of living in Peru, I was trying to change my language to make sure people understood me. However, if I was back home in Canada, I would be saying all the phrasal verbs. All right, so let's talk about some of the most common ones. So let's start with number one, which is cross out. So cross out would mean that if you have a list of things to do, maybe your to-do list, and when you finish something, you would cross out what you've accomplished. So cross out. Maybe you have a wedding list of invitations, and maybe you need to decrease the number of people, so you can say, okay, who do we need to cross out? All right, the next one is make up for. So make up for is very commonly used when there's some kind of conflict, but then we have a solution. And so it's usually one person making something feel better. So for example, if you and your boyfriend get into this big argument, a big fight, and then the next day the boyfriend comes back to the house, he has flowers and chocolates and a little sorry card. And so that's representative of making up for something. So he made up for the argument. He made up for his actions by buying a gift, buying something to make the other person feel better. So finding kind of a solution to a conflict. Although it's not technically a solution, it's more of like a, here's something to make you feel better. And another example can be used with pilots. So we all know going, like traveling somewhere, there is never a perfect flight. There's always some kind of, maybe a delay, something's wrong with the plane. Like, it's a very seldom that you get to where you need to on time. If a flight is maybe a couple hours delayed and the pilot is able to still make it the time that you're supposed to be at your destination, he is making up for the lost time. So there is a conflict, delays, but he was able to make up for it. He found a happy ending to make everybody happy. All right, the next one is stand for. Stand for is kind of when you have an acronym. An acronym is anything that's a bunch of letters, but they all stand for something. So for example, IHOP. If I said, what does IHOP stand for? And IHOP, if you don't know, is an incredible, delicious, greasy pancake restaurant in America, but there's also some around the world. But IHOP, what does IHOP stand for? Well, it's an acronym for International House of Pancakes. So IHOP. You can say this for any kind of thing, like what does MINSA stand for? What does WHO stand for? Like the World Health Organization. So these are all different kinds of acronyms, and if you don't know what the acronym means, then you can say, what does this stand for? All right, our next one is run into. So when you run into somebody, it's not physically like, bam, I ran into somebody. It can be, very literally. However, figuratively, when you run into somebody, it means that you saw somebody that you knew, maybe at the supermarket, maybe it's your aunt, but you had no intention of meeting your aunt at the supermarket. She just conveniently was also there at the same time. And so you pass by each other, oh, hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And so this is a run into situation. So then you can go home and say, oh, hey, Mom, I ran into Aunt Betty at the supermarket. All right, this next one is one of my favorite ones, which is take after. Take after means that you either physically or characteristically is very similar to one of your parents or another family member. Normally it's a family member, but there can be some exceptions. So for example, I take after my mom's laugh. We have almost the exact same laugh. I do not take after her physically. My mother is a very tiny little Filipino lady, whereas I am half Filipino, half Canadian, and I am much taller than she is. So I do not take after her height, but I do take after her personality, her laughter, and more. All right, this next one is eat out. So when you eat out, it is not necessarily that you are eating outside of your home. I mean, it is, but it's more specific to eating at a restaurant or a bar or a lounge, like a business, a place where you go eat. And so if you're going to say, yeah, let's go eat out tonight, then that is implying, okay, let's go spend some money at some kind of restaurant. And then you will get food. And so that is eating out. And so you would not say, I'm going to eat out at my friend's house, because that's not necessarily eating out. You would say, I'm going to eat at my friend's house. But if the two of you are going out, then you can say, yeah, me and Shelby are going to eat out Friday afternoon. All right, this next one is turn down. So when you turn something down, that means that it's more of a rejection. So for example, if maybe a boy asks out a girl and she says, oh, no, thank you, I don't want to go out with you. She is turning him down. She turned him down because whatever reason, she just doesn't want to go out with him. And so that is the phrasal verb, turn down, rejection, or even like, my boss turned down my proposal, or the university turned down my application. So again, rejection, that is turn down. All right, this next one is put up with. And so when you put up with something, or I would more commonly say it as put up with, that's a pronunciation thing. But if you put up with something, it means that you are kind of having you have to do something that you don't necessarily want to do, and you just have to deal with it. You have to have patience for it. So for example, maybe your parents have to go out for the night and they ask for you to babysit your younger brother or sister. And then maybe you say, oh, I want to go out tonight, but I have to put up with my little brother. So that is put up with. Another example could be if you are really angry, you're really stressed out, and you say, oh, I have to put up with all of this homework before I can go out with my friends. So it's kind of like, ugh, I have to do this. I have to deal with this. It's more commonly used in the more negative connotation. All right, so our next one is work out. So you probably already know when you work out, it's like an exercise. You are physically working out, building your muscle. Of course, that is workout. But workout actually has several different meanings. I will just tell you one other one, which is when you are trying to solve a problem. Maybe you're trying to figure out a puzzle. You're trying to work out the puzzle, trying to solve it. Or you're trying to read something, like the details of a sign that's like really far from you, and you're like, I can't work out what it says. So then you're trying to figure it out. You're trying to find a solution. That is another way you can use workout. All right, and this is our last one, which is let in on. So this one can be a little tricky to use, and it's more commonly as a secret. It's kind of like when somebody tells you a secret, then they can say, I will let you in on a secret. I'm getting married. I'm pregnant. Like those kinds of things. Or if they are trying to tell you about a joke, like I'm going to let you in on a joke. Like we are planning to blah, blah, blah. So that's the idea. It's like kind of like when somebody gives you some piece of knowledge that is supposed to be kind of like kept secret, then they can say, I'm going to let you in on this. So that's the idea, let in on. All right, and so we made it to the end. There you go. Those are a bunch of phrasal verbs that you can start practicing. Again, all of these phrasal verbs are very commonly used. I probably have used almost all of them in the last week. So definitely practice them. If you don't know how to use them, be sure to leave a comment and I can respond to you. But otherwise, make sure you like, subscribe, share this to your other English learning friends, and I will see you next time.